lot of people will not be able to afford staying here. If rates go up, and they may very well go up. So this is really truly to save Rosamond. Thank you.
I was here at the meeting by phone, if you all remember, but we did attend, I attended this conference, and the conference was filled with tremendous information on water treatment and what is in our future water quality regulations. One class I found particularly interesting was a report on the amount of fresh water underground in the world. There are 2 small satellites that are measuring the weight of the water supplies that the world has, the fresh drinking water supplies. It is shocking to see the overdraft of groundwater worldwide, not just here in California. The effects of groundwater pumping in California for 2 years when the Delta was not allowed to be pumped was dramatic. And he put up the 2 different pictures, prior to the water being turned off because the Delta smelled, and then after. And the intensity of the red of the overdraft was amazing. The satellites are watching the disappearance of fresh water. These satellites can record water recovery and depletion and are developing a database record so that it is easy to determine when the groundwater will run out. It is apparent that we need to set aside a lot of the strangled regulations and build desal plants all up and down our coastline. I can see that soon it will be reasonable to buy water off the super tankers that have filled up from the mouth of the Columbia River in Oregon and ship it to California. After all, if Nestle is sucking water out of the Great Lakes and shipping it to China, and that is financially feasible for them, then shipping water to us should also be feasible. Another comment that was made was the measurement of the electromagnetic fields on the Earth. The magnetic fields are very strong along the Earth's fault lines. And he didn't elaborate on that. I'm going to have to look that up on the internet because I found that very interesting, that our magnetic fields are stronger along these faults that we live next to. And through all of the conversation, I can see a real wrestling match over the stormwater. Should it be channeled into treatment plants and used immediately in the freshwater treatment? Should it be released into the ocean and then desalinated? Or should we allow it to recharge the groundwater supply for future needs? According to this report this class that I was listening to, we are past a critical time of decision. We can't put that off any longer. No way we can remove down chromium-6 inexpensively. Everyone seems to oppose the lowering of the standards. This is one thing I was listening for. The organization as a whole, and I hope that they regroup, that AWWA didn't have a session on, that they would reject the findings or oppose regulations or lobby for all the members and stop the legislation. So that's one thing that we need to work on with the AWWA. I did go to one class, however, that is a numbers guy, and he talked about the efficiency of chromium-6 removal, and he clearly proved that the costs exceed the benefits. He estimated that the cost of chromium-6 removal could cost the average family of 4 $2,500 per year, at a cost of $140 million per cancer patient, because they say, you know, one person in 1 million could possibly get cancer from the levels of chromium-6. So pretty expensive. San Francisco has a high cancer rate, he stated, and has no chromium-6. Of course, I wanted to yell out, yeah, but they have chloramines in the water. Yes, I'll be that. But there is, according to Mr. Belzer, an economic feasibility requirement that this regulation clearly does not meet. I got the web address so that we can get a copy of his report. I have a .com and a web address and his phone number. And he is rbbetzr@post.harvard.edu. The elephant in the room is chloramines, and but I did go to one class that it was really good, and he talked about his project where They put a tank in, stripped out the TTAGMs. It was very inexpensive. It cost about $27,000 to implement the removal of the TTAGMs that were in question. And everybody was happy and they met all the regulations. So, you know, simple and cheaper, and in my opinion, he should have gotten a standing ovation. Because then I hear of other places, and they put in $168 million water treatment plants so they can convert to chloramines, you know, these different districts. They're not spending little money, they're spending a lot of money for these treatment plants when and if the TTHMs are the issue, they would strip them out. So I had a lot of discussions with the attendings on issues and problems, as well as vendor discussions, and I have to take my hats off to the private enterprise. Without them, we'd be lost. They're coming up with all kinds of innovations to try to overcome all the horrific issues of chloramines. And you know, on some issues, they're doing a pretty good job. It's just more and more cost to the district to put in all these implementations to prevent these causes of chloramines. And so, you know, you can't fault the vendors, from meters, pipes, storage tanks, and apps. There's lots to learn about those tools and how effective they are. And I did get a chance to talk to the lady who is representing the meters that we put on and discuss in depth just their efficiency and how they will hold up and all of that, and how many years they'll hold up.
With just an update on the park issues, United Street Park and the equipment that is there, the school district is, and I have been working together to remove that equipment from there and move it to the RCSD for replacement in another location. They're going to replace that playground equipment and put in the new required standard ground cover, which is a rubberized material, and I've coordinated with the superintendent to get that removed by the time they need it removed. In regard to the skate park, currently at the same time we're going to move that equipment from the skate park. We'll also bring that to the RCSD and store that until we get the other location identified and built. And basically what we're looking at now, and the Public Works Superintendent, Assistant General Manager John Houghton is now obtaining bids to get some work done to prepare the catch basin, the second one away from us here at the offices. There's a big catch basin here and one just on the other side of the fence. There's another one. We have plans on, and this has to come to the board also, but I wanted to get some numbers before I ever brought it to the board to consider placing it out there in that catch basin. Catch basins in a lot of areas that I'm familiar with are real good locations for things such as this, because in the winter times when it's raining and water flows are running, you don't have people out there using them anyway. And they generally will empty out rather quickly, and we can provide for that to pump the basin out to get it dry, so when it's good weather to use it again, it'll be easily cleaned up. So that's kind of a plan that we've got for that. The other equipment, possibly at Wilford Park at this time, but we have to take a look at the regulations. School districts have different regulations, and it may not pertain to the RCSD, but it certainly does for schools. But we have to take a look at that and then determine whether or not we can install it at Wilford Park. We probably install it there. But that's what's going to be going on here. We'll have that done prior to the end of June.
Is that the drop dead date the school's given us?
It's not so much a drop dead date. It's kind of, that's when I ask him what's your timeline? He said if you could have it out of there by the end of June, that would facilitate the skate park area where they're trenching for the new district offices, and they're going to put in modules for right now in that location, and the park at United Street, they'll be doing that sometime after the June 30th during the summer.
So they have funding for their projects.
I didn't ask him if he had funding.
Well, that's good. You know, the playground equipment we just put in at Wilford not too long ago, that didn't require any kind of special matters, did it?
No, but it did come with a softer ground cover base for it, but it didn't require the rubberized. I don't know where that's being required. I know the county, when I was a county supervisor, was going toward that type of covering to limit liability, I believe. But I'm not real sure if it's a requirement of playgrounds today, because if you look, not all playgrounds have it.
Right.
Because it gets real hot in the summer here.
Right.
It's one thing it's in the Northwest, but here it gets blazing hot. I talked to some folks in Palmdale, they really don't care to use it for landscape anymore because it just is so hot.
Well, they use it in Arizona quite a bit, and it's hotter than heck there, but what they do there is they cover all their play areas with that mesh to cast kind of a shade on the play areas and keep that temperature, because it also breaks down the rubberized material that they use, and it's extremely expensive.